की जय। आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय। Shubh Swagatam. Let me extend a very warm welcome to each and every one of you this morning, those of you who physically joined us at the Mandir, and for those persons who would be viewing us online, either on Facebook or on YouTube. We welcome you this morning to our satsang, this wonderful, very beautiful Sunday morning. And as we've come to the Mandir, either physically or virtually, many of us would have different circumstances impacting us and impacting our families and our lives. Whatever be our circumstance, whether we are facing some difficulty, some obstacle, some sickness, whether it is that we are in a celebratory mood, that we are rejoicing over some fact, let us all, with that equipoise and with that feeling of divinity, come before Bhagwan with all humility. Let us offer ourselves before Him and let us seek His continued protection and guidance. I'm sure many of you may have been awake or awakened at just around midnight with a little shake that was given to us. And that little shake measured, from what I'm told, just about 6.0 on the Richter scale, so it was quite significant. And yet, we give thanks to God that there has been no significant damage or no loss of life that we are aware of by that circumstance. Let us all now stand as we commence our satsang this morning. I want to extend very special welcome to Pandit Raj and his family who are back visiting with us from Virginia. Panditji, welcome to you all. And Ishwar is behind the tabla this morning to assist us a little bit. As we gaze at the murtis before us, whichever form of Bhagwan we find most endearing, most appealing, I invite you to gaze at that form. And having immersed yourself in that presence, then close your eyes to the windows of this physical world as we go within in invocation. Hari Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Om Shri Saraswate Namah. Om Shri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namah. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Guru Me Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvara Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swara Namostute Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadguru Nagindraharaya Trilochanaya Bhasmangaragaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Shuddhaya Digambaragaya Tasmai Nagaraya Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandramabhedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaye Pataye Namaha Om Manojavam Marutatulyvegyam Jetindriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Bhatatmajam Vanariyutamukam Shri Ramadutam Shirashi Namami Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Beti, let's resume our seats as we engage now in opening kirtan. I invite us all to blend our voices together. Let us clap and let us sing and let us glorify Bhagwan.
Lambodhar Gajanana विघ्ननाशक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना दुःखनाशक गजानना भक्तरक्षक गजानना दुःखनाशक गजानना भक्तरक्षक गजानना शिव गौरी स्नेहपात्रं वक्रतुण्ड 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 गजानना वक्रतुण्ड गजानना सर्वेश्वर विघ्नेश्वर पद्मपावन गजानना सर्वेश्वर विघ्नेश्वर पद्मपावन गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना प्रथमेश्वर बुद्धिदाता भक्तपालक गजानना प्रथमेश्वर बुद्धिदाता भक्तपालक गजानना भक्तपालक गजानना परम शोभन दुष्ट हंता संत रक्षक गजानना परम शोभन दुष्ट हंता संत रक्षक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना लंबोदर गजानना विघ्ननाशक गजानना दुःखनाशक गजानना भक्तरक्षक गजानना दुःखनाशक गजानना भक्तरक्षक गजानना भक्तरक्षक गजानना भक्तरक्षक गजानना
प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय. We now join together as we chant those wonderful verses composed by Tulsidas Ji Maharaj, the verses of Hanuman Chalisa. Let us all sing together, let us all clap, let us all glorify Mahavir Swami as we sing Hanuman Chalisa.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधार बरनो रघुवर बिमल जसु जो दायक पल चार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन वरण विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजै कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजै शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिवे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिवे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाए रघुपति की ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई। बोलो जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान सहस बदन तुम्हरो यश गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद शारद सहित अहिसा यम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि को विधि कही सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राज पर दीन्हा। जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान तुम्हारो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना युग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेले मुख माही जलधि लांघ गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे ते। बोलो जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहो को डरना आपन तेज सम्हारो आपै तीनों लोक हाथ के पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान, जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान। नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा। संकट से हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन पल पावे। जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान, जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान। चारों युग परताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुआरे। अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दास। बोलो जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान, जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीरा। जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान, जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो शत बार बात कर कोई, छूत ही बंध महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि झेरा, की जयनाथ हृदय महादेव। बोलो जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान, जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। बोलो जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान, जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान। जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान, जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान। राम भक्त जय जय हनुमान, राम भक्त जय जय हनुमान। जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान, जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान। जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान, जय हनुमान श्री हनुमान।
प्रेम से बोले श्री पवनपुत्र हनुमान की जय. This morning I'm going to put him on the spot a little bit because I know he's not prepared, so I'm expecting the stare. As I said at the beginning, Pandit Raj is visiting with us from Virginia with members of his family. Pandit Raj is the spiritual head of Mandir in Virginia and has wonderful programs there. So I'd invite him for 2 more months, if Panditji, if you won't mind, to bring greetings on behalf of your congregation and members of the Mandir and blessings from yourself and your family on this occasion. So I invite you to the podium just for 2 more months, and then we will proceed with our Balvihar class and so on.
Sitaram, everyone. So Panditji, as usual, you know, he swing I don't call it a left bowl or a right bowl, I'm not quite sure. So let us sit upright and we'll just do Gayatri Japam. I will see what we can get from there. तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. Two more times. ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. बोले श्री गायत्री माता की जय. So what can I tell you that you don't already know? I am the resident Pandit of Brahm Vidyapitam Shiva Mandir. We are in Virginia, very close to Washington, D.C. But let's take the name Brahm Vidyapitam. Brahm means that supreme consciousness. Vidya means knowledge of that supreme consciousness. Pitam means center. Just like the acronym, you know. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Another Vedantic terminology to that is Sat, Chit, Anand. This Sat is who you are. This consciousness is who you are, who I am, who God is. And the lack of recognizing that is what we call ignorance. So our temple in Virginia, we are trying very hard to bring this awareness of who you are back into our lives. You know, there's my uncle Pandit Ramnath Rampasad used to always recite a chaupai, Hari Vyapak Sarvata Saman. It's in Balkan, Kishkinnakan. It's the beginning of Ramayana. Hari means that supreme personality. Vyapak Sarvata Saman, equally present in every atom of creation. That was his message. I don't know if that understanding was there back then, but that is my understanding in today's world. And if that statement is true, then why can't we not recognize that Hari, that Sat Chit Anand principle in every aspect of creation? Right now, right here. This is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. I'm sure over the years while we were here during COVID, I remember you guys started reciting the Gita on a weekly basis, and it continues. This is the essential teaching of Bhagavad Gita, to recognize who you are, to recognize that God conscious principle in every atom of creation, in your mind, in your body, in your intellect, in your senses, in the plants outside, the leaf, the grass, the tree. This is the idea. This is why Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, pray to me as the leaf, as Bela Patra. Pray to me as the plant, Tulsi plant. Pray to me as the water, Gangama, Varundev. Pray to me as the sky. Pray to me as the sun, Suraj Bhagwan. Pray to me as the planets, Navgraha Devtas. We should recognize this Sat Chit Anand, this Brahma Vidya in every aspect of creation. Hence our temple in Virginia is called Brahm Vidya Pitam. with this, I will close because it is not my intention to give you a discourse. I am not your speaker. So I'll close with a short prayer. Gayatri, Gayatri mantra to Shankar Bhagavan. Om Tat Purushaya Vidmahi Mahadevaya Dhimahi Tanno Rudra Prachodayat. Om Namah Shivaya. Prem se bolo Shiv Shankar Bhagavan ki jai. Thank you, Panditji.
Thank you so much, Panditji. And as Panditji takes his seat, I will invite the teachers of the Bal Vihar class firstly to take the children down to class. We're just going to have a little reset of our board before our discourse. So bear with us, we will not have sound for about 1 moment. I invite you to sit upright, gaze at the Murti, and continue very silently chanting Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Prem se bolo Umapati Mahadeva ki jai. So once more, very warm welcome to all of our devotees, brothers and sisters who've come this morning physically to the Mandir, and those who have joined us after we started at 8:30 a.m. Thank you again, Panditji, for that wonderful greeting from Mandir in Virginia, and on behalf of yourself and your family as well. Continuing, brothers and sisters, with a series of discourses that we have commenced at the beginning of this year, focusing not only on the non-secular, but also focusing on secular matters, and in particular the wellness, physical wellness, medical wellness, emotional wellness. We are indeed very fortunate to have with us this morning a very qualified, very esteemed, very renowned, very well-respected medical professional, and I won't do the introduction, who will be delivering our message this morning. Just a few house announcements as we prepare for the introduction. So questions will be facilitated. So if you have questions during the message that is being given, or questions that you may have come with concerning wellness and health issues, we will be circulating pieces of paper and pens. You can write the questions down while the message is ongoing. Those will be collected, and then the speaker will address or attempt to address as many of the questions as we can at the close of his presentation. So I now invite to the podium Dr. Mitra Maharaj, the PRO of our management committee, who will introduce our guest speaker. And while this is being done, some other members will be circulating pieces of paper and pens and so on, and you can write your questions, or even if you want to make a comment and say, excellent presentation, as I'm sure it will be, you can do so as well. So I hand over to Dr. Mitra Maharaj.
Sitaram devotees. So Pandit, that's kind of preamble, my introduction there, but so we did promise a couple of months ago that we will be doing these secular talks and these health-related talks at least once a month, to bring awareness and educate our population here on various health diseases and illnesses that plague our society in Trinidad. Now, in honor of Father's Day being last week, we thought that it would be a good opportunity to talk about men's health. So it will be geared towards men's health, but as Dr. Rampal indicated to me, he did add in some women's health in there as well. So Dr. Rampal is one of the top urologists we have here in Trinidad. He has been practicing medicine for the last 30 years after he graduated from the University of the West Indies in Mona, Jamaica. He went on to specialize in urology in the UK and came back and served the SWRHA, the Southwest Regional Health Authority, for the last 20 years in the urology department. So his urological experience is vast and one of the longest serving in the country. He has since retired from the public system, but still continues to practice privately in the field of urology. So without further ado, I would like to invite to the podium Dr. Rampal.
Sitaram, everybody. I'll be referring to the multimedia projector, if the guys could get it up. First of all, I want to thank you all very much, in particular Pandit Rudranath Maharaj and the men, for showing an interest in health. And it's a pleasure and a privilege to be able to share knowledge that we have accumulated over the years. Although they're asking to speak on men's health, you'll realize that a lot of the topics also affect women. So we'll address everybody, and we'll make the appropriate illustrations when it comes to women and even younger boys. So this first part, we'll go through real quickly. We want to talk about these important things. It's difficult for you to see from so far, but I'll tell you, the main diseases affecting adults, right? You will see 7 sections: heart disease, cancer, stroke. Those are the 3 main things that cause death early in life. And do you know that the commonest cause of death in men, 35 years and over, is heart attack? 35, that's quite young, right? So when I found out that, I was surprised. I think it's an old people disease. It's not, right? So we'll talk about these. You will see now about stroke. Now, these 3, heart disease, cancer, go in more detail, and stroke are the real serious ones. These other ones are lifestyle diseases, diabetes, hypertension, obesity, depression, kidney failure. All these cause morbidity, illness, short life, and difficult times. And they could cause premature death as well. Next. Next slide, guys. Right. So it's important to learn this word called plaques. I'm sure most people know what a plaque is, right? The first line says the main killer. You will see in a little while with the illustrations how this one disease process could affect many organs. So heart attack and stroke I put together. It sounds different, right? But they are main killers, and it's important to understand what causes it and what we can do about it. And again, this affects both men and women. More men than women. So women hardly get heart attack before the age 50. Very, very scarce. But younger men, 35, 40. Anybody knows anybody who died of a heart attack less than 40 or 40 years old? Yes, exactly. So this is a serious condition. And this is why young guys in their 20s and so on, and even young girls, need to start finding out what the situation is. And don't wait until you're 50 and 60 to take stock, because by then, this thing called plaque is already fairly advanced. So the other major disease, diabetes, cancers, and kidney failure. Now, if you look at this diagram here, you will see the man standing up there. Complications of plaque. The fancy word is atherosclerosis. Now, we have any plumbers in the group here? Anybody could do a little plumbing and so on? But in the old days when we had the metal pipes, if you open a pipe inside or cut it, you will see corrosion inside. So the rust builds up over time, and the area gets thinner and thinner, and sometimes the water have problem passing through. This is exactly what happened in all your arteries. Now, the picture the man showing you here, you will see the head, blood going to the arms, and all that come from the heart. Now, when you look at the diagram just now, you will see, we'll show you a section to show you how the plaque develop inside of the arteries. Right? So I see some students here, they're shaking their head because they realize they learned it in school already, right? This is very important. If you understand this, you understand many diseases that shorten your life. And I see some younger guys coming in. I'm glad to see everybody here today. So you will see here, if I could walk up a little bit closer, we do, yeah. The top one, it says plaques. We'll say plaques for short instead of atherosclerosis, right? Plaques affect parts of the brain because the blood is pumped from the heart up to the brain, down to the legs, down to the organs. And if the artery carrying the blood to the brain gets blocked, you can get a stroke. We'll see that in a little while. If the artery going to the leg gets blocked, you have circulation problem, and this is why a lot of people need amputation, because whatever is blocked dies. Now, very interesting, that same plaque, when that gets away and go, the heart itself, you'll see in a different diagram, the heart itself has little arteries on the surface of the heart to feed the heart. So the heart itself needs blood, all that pumping blood, it has to live. When those little arteries get blocked, you get heart attack. So we'll go in more detail and see just now. Next slide. Right. So you can see the pipe here now. Right? The first one shows normal. The second one, you see a little thing developing here. And then little by little, the corrosion gathers and gathers and gathers. The more it gathers, the more blockage there is. And then a piece of that corrosion could break away and float and go and cause a stroke or cause a heart attack. So, Pandit, it's very important for us to understand what are the factors causing this to happen. Right? We can't wait and say, well, boy, I have a stroke, what are you going to do? You have to start thinking in your early days, 30s, 40s, what I can do to prevent this happening. Because by the time it's happening, it's kind of late. I mean, you can still do things, but prevention is always cheaper, better, and you live longer. So, these are the causes. Everybody over age 40, you start to develop small amount of plaque or corrosion inside. You can't help that. That's because of age. But then high cholesterol, high calorie food, smoking makes it worse. Lack of exercise and overweight also contribute to more and more plaque forming. Diabetes and high blood pressure. All these things add up 2%, 2%, 2%. So the more plaque you get, the more likely for you to get heart attack and so on. Now there's a lot you can do about this. So this is not a death sentence. The important thing what Pandit is suggesting is, let us understand our bodies, understand what can happen, and what we need to do to avoid this happening. Now, Indian origin is a very interesting one. If 30 people get heart attack, 28 are Indians. Or white. That is non-African. Now, everybody remember Bill Clinton, ex-president of the US? He had heart attacks, and he was a fitness freak, right? So the point is, it happens all over the world. When we say the commonest cause of heart attack or death from heart attack over 35 in men, this is all over the world, not Trinidad, all over the world. Now, I was wondering, what is it that makes Indian people more prone to this thing? And when I do a little research, what it says, Mitra will tell you, that the corrosion or the plaques that deposit inside the artery, the body has a kind of way of trying to remove it. So while it's depositing, the body is trying to heal it. It is said that in Indian people, we lack that mechanism to heal that. So whereas other races, when they get their deposits, the body can fight a certain amount of it. In Indian people, for some reason, whether it's a genes or something, we're not sure exactly, we don't have that ability to remove some of that plaque. So whatever goes, just keep piling up. So that is one reason why there are certain diseases that affect Indian people more, just like, sickle cell affect African people more, right? Okay, next slide. Right. Now, that picture of the man holding his chest is very typical. When you get chest pain from heart, you hold your chest here. Although the heart is more on the left, you feel the pain in the middle. Okay? And this is what we're talking about here. This picture here showing you that blue vessel going up there is pumping blood up to the brain, different parts of the body. But if you watch the surface, we'll see in another picture. It's hard to see in this picture. There are little arteries and little veins on your hand here, right? You know the veins you have on your arms. They run on the surface of the heart and go inside the heart to make sure that the heart muscle, while you are sleeping, the heart is working day and night, you know. You can sleep, but the heart can't sleep, right? So it's pumping day and night. It needs energy day and night. It needs blood. Blood carries food and oxygen to every area of the heart. So the brain and the heart cannot do without oxygen for 1 second. It starts to die. So while you are sleeping, you will say, I'm resting. Your heart is not resting. Your heart is beating 60, 70 times a minute. Okay? So we have to understand, as from birth until death, the heart is beating, needs oxygen. And any little choke, any little blockage that prevent the blood from reaching every part of the heart can cause chest pain, heart attack. That is why it's so important to understand this and take steps early to start exercising, stop smoking, watch your diet, control your cholesterol, whatever it takes, to try to make sure that those arteries pumping the blood does not have the corrosion inside. You will have some, but by steps we can take, you will try to reduce it. Next. Right. Now you can see the artery slightly better here. Let me just walk a little closer. Thank you. Right, so this is the main, this coronary artery, this one here is the left, this one is the right. This fella is the main one that supplies 70-80% of the heart. And if parts of that get blocked, you get serious heart attack, right? So I know it's plenty of pictures and so on, but look at this. It's just like the veins. It's looking like on the surface, but it has branches going inside the heart muscle to feed the heart every minute. Thank you. Okay, so it says here, blockages from clots or plaques cut off the blood flowing to the heart muscle. When the blood doesn't reach every corner, you get a heart attack. A heart attack means a part of the heart muscle dies. Okay, it may heal later on, get over, but at that point in time, that piece of heart muscle is dead. And the bigger the blockage, the bigger the heart muscle. In other words, if you get 2-3 heart attack, 20% might die, 20% by, after 3-4 heart attack, the heart could hardly work properly. You really want to prevent heart attack. Next slide. Right. This is just a picture to show you. You must have heard the word angiogram. When you get in chest pain, people go and get stents put in and so on. An angiogram is a special x-ray they do where they pump dye into the artery, go into the heart to see which one of the artery is blocked. So you will see it have left coronary, right coronary, okay? Those are the arteries on the heart, and depending on which one blocked, they will know how to help you, where to put the stent, where to do the bypass, and so on. Next slide. Right. So we're going from heart attack to stroke. As far as I'm seeing, the same disease, just affecting different organs. So what happens when you get a stroke? Part of the brain dies. Now the brain controls everything in the body. How you move your hand, how you think, how you eat, how you smell, how you see. The brain controls every function. So any part of the brain dies, you lose that function. So when you get a stroke on one side, it means one part of the brain controlling that arm has been blocked off, no blood supply, and dies. And again, it's the same plaque story. So, by preventing or controlling plaque, you're preventing stroke, heart attack, and circulation problem. Now, when you have a stroke, it's a tragedy. There's a guy who comes to my office to get a catheter change and so on. He's about 200 pounds. 4 people have to come with him. Because he had 3 strokes now. He could barely stand up. 2 or 3 brothers have to hold him and lift him to put him on the bed. The sister has to hold his foot. When I look at this whole scenario, a whole family is affected every time this man has to go somewhere. He has lost his job. The family members all can't work because they have to be at home to feed him and everything. So when you have a stroke, it's a tragedy. And I will tell you a secret. There is no stroke doctor in Trinidad, people. None. All you're laughing because you know why you're laughing, right? I will explain why I got it. There are stroke doctors in the world, you know, but none in Trinidad. There are doctors in Trinidad who will try to help and treat stroke. Those are not genuine stroke doctors. They'll help, they'll do what they can, but they can't intervene. So we'll tell you in a little while what's happening. So, all these things happen. Now, if you're getting a stroke or anything like that, yes, you have to go to the doctor. There are a couple of things they can do for you. The first thing, they'll want a CT scan for the brain. Find out what's going on. 2 reasons for strokes. We said plaque could break off and flow and block up the artery to the brain and cause one part of the brain to die. That's one kind of stroke. The other stroke is a hemorrhagic stroke where from high blood pressure, the artery in one part of the brain ruptures. The blood leaks out. And that swelling now compress the brain and cause part of the brain to die. So you have a hemorrhagic stroke or you have a blockage obstructive type of stroke. So the CT scan is to assess 2 things. How big the stroke is and what has caused it. Now you know they treat stroke with aspirin and so on. So if you have a blockage type of stroke, they will give you aspirin to thin the blood to make sure the blood flows as best as it could. But if you have a hemorrhagic or a bleeding kind of stroke, you can't take aspirin, right? Now, when you go to the doctor and you have a stroke, they try to stabilize your blood pressure. They try to give you aspirin to clear it because if you're not careful, that stroke could grow into a bigger and bigger stroke while you're watching. So the most important thing in Trinidad, what the doctors do, is try to control and limit the amount of damage. And in due course, your body will recover, right? Thank God He's made us in such a way that the body, over a period of 2 to 3 months, can compensate and make up for that deficit. In other words, if your arm is weak after the stroke or you can't talk, after 2 to 3 months, the body recovers a little bit and you start to get over. But no injection could make that better. I will tell you abroad what is so fancy. I wish we had that in Trinidad, which we don't have yet. The same way that we have gone advanced in Trinidad to treat heart attack, and they can intervene, put a stent, and create the circulation. You can't undo the heart attack, but you could prevent the next one happening. That kind of treatment is done overseas in the States for stroke. I have a doctor friend in Trinidad who lives abroad. He is a genuine stroke doctor. Here's how it operates. He works with a medical facility that only deals with strokes, nothing else. They have 2 or 3 ambulances standby for their area in the States. The minute they get a call from somebody, this patient getting weak, this patient have a stroke, they jump into action, fly to the house, and get the patient to the hospital in less than 10 minutes. When they reach there, they put in drip right away, do the CT scan, see where the blockage is, and immediately start to pump chemicals and drugs inside to melt out that blockage. So if it's a partial stroke, you might get away. If it's a full stroke, nothing more can happen. Now, if a part of the brain dies, you can do nothing about that. No amount of medicine can make that better. But intervention in that kind of way reduce what could be a big stroke into a mini stroke, and with the physiotherapy and so on, you get over faster. Now, that is the proper kind of stroke doctor. But we don't have it in Trinidad because it's not only the doctor. You have to have the complete lab setup to do the test, to treat them, the nurses stand by, the ambulance is a very expensive thing. So that is what a stroke doctor is. And here we have a good specialist somewhere going down that side. I don't want to say where, right? Everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? And they call the doctor a stroke doctor. But if you stay home and pray and eat food and do better, in 3 months you will get over a stroke anyway. So whether you get injection from there or not, you will recover, right? But you know, we people, Trinidad, we like to go to the doctor, you know, when he has stroke, and he have a good reputation, right? That he will get all the stroke better. So I'm just saying, do not be fooled by feeling, yes, you need to go to the doctor, but you can't go every week to get an injection. No injection can make it better. Physiotherapy, control the pressure, control the sugar. Dr. Mitra will tell you, very important, because you don't want a second stroke and a third stroke. You might survive the first, you may not survive the second. Right, next slide. Right, this is a picture, a CT scan of the brain, and it's showing you the red area there. That part is dead, and that's what the CT scan shows you. Now, that part could control half of your body. So if you lose that part, you could understand what's going on. So the causes, high blood pressure causing rupture, or plaque causing blockage. Next. Right. So we finished heart attack and stroke. Quick word on diabetes. This is also very important because it's a very common thing in our country, right? Now, 3 organs play an important part in controlling your blood sugar. Whatever food you eat, especially carbohydrates, starch, roti and rice, potatoes, all these things are high in carbohydrate, high in calories, right? And diabetes, as you know, have to do with high sugar. Now, this picture shows you the liver, and, right, the liver is that organ, that one on the top left-hand side. Then the stomach is this big bag that collects the food, and behind the stomach, which you can see, is a little cream organ called the pancreas, okay? Now, the stomach holds the food and churns it up. Put some digestive juices inside and make it into a slurry, right? But the gallbladder, that green thing there under the liver, and the pancreas pump chemicals into the food to break it down smaller to absorb it. Now, the pancreas has 2 main hormones, 2 main enzymes. One is insulin and the other one is glucagon. You'll see the next picture. Basically, some of them melt out the food fast to raise the blood sugar. If your blood sugar is low, the brain understands that and raises the blood sugar. If your blood sugar is too high, the correct enzyme get pumped out and that lower it. So in other words, it keeps you level. The problem in diabetes is if you don't have enough insulin. Next slide, let's look at the next slide. Right. This is a drawing showing you now. If you don't have enough insulin to bring down the sugar remains high all the time. Right. Now, we can't control how much insulin your body produces, so if you become diabetic, you have certain things you can do. And the message of this whole talk here is, it is never a helpless situation. Wherever you are, you could prevent problems, you could control problems, and you could live a long life. I worked for 5.5 years in England. I have never seen anybody, any diabetic, who had an amputation, none. When I come to Trinidad, and you watch the ward, half of them do have a left leg, and half of them do have a right leg. Amputation, amputation, amputation. Why? Because we're not controlling our sugar properly. And when you don't control the sugar, you can get complications. So these kind of talks is important to motivate you. If you're diabetic, control it, do your exercise, check your blood sugar, and know what your situation is. I hear old ladies saying, "Beta, I have sugar, what you go do?" You know what that means? She gave up already, right? But in their generation, they did not know. So these talks are to remind you that you are never in a helpless situation. Dr. Mitra's job is to tell you, listen, that sugar is too high, I am worried. Bring it down, control it. Your blood pressure is too high, prevent a stroke, right? So that is the push of this whole talk. Know about yourself and know how to deal with it. Next slide. Right. This is a very frightening slide. This is showing you the complications of diabetes, which we all know about. Let me, by show of hands, how many of you know diabetics who have bleeding in the back of their eye? Right. And they have to go for treatment, injection, laser, all kind of thing. That is usually because diabetes has been there for a long time with bad control. Sugar and pressure are two deceitful diseases. You do not feel too sick when your sugar is high. You good? You walking around, your sugar is 300 and 400. You're a little thirsty, but you say the weather hot. Right? So you don't even know your sugar is high. But if you check and your sugar is high, that is what causes the complication. Let's look at the complication of diabetes. Look at the head. The brain, high sugar could cause that same plaque we talk about to get worse and cause a stroke. The eyes, it damages the eyes. Now the back of the eye have plenty artery and vein that feed the lens and everything. When that starts to bleed because the sugar bad out of control, the eye get foggy and you're seeing blurred. You can't get that better. When they treat you with laser like this, right? What they're doing, they're spot welding where the blood leaking from to prevent it leaking more. But it cannot make that better. So when you go to the doctor and you have bleeding in the back of your eye, that can't get better. The treatment now is to stop it from getting worse and getting blind. You don't want to reach that stage. When you reach that stage, that's dangerous stuff. Okay, come down here now, the heart. The same plaque we talk about is made worse by diabetes if it's out of control. Then you look at the kidneys. A lot of people in Trinidad go for dialysis because they have kidney failure. Number one cause for kidney failure is poor control of diabetes. High blood pressure is the next one. So I'm showing you the complications of diabetes, and all this could be avoided. Eh? Next one, people, you must know people with amputations. They have ulcers in the foot. Again, circulation problem. It's not so much the sugar. The sugar makes the plaque worse, and when the plaque blocks the artery going to the vein, the blood doesn't reach to the toes. So when you get a cut, it can't heal. It's not that the sugar bursting out. The sugar making the artery block up faster, so the piece of toe or the foot dies. So sugar is an important thing to control for a better health overall. Right. Anybody know diabetics who are burning under the feet or numbness under the feet? They feel they can't feel their feet and so on. The nerves in the whole body slowly over 10, 20 years get damaged when the sugar is too high. Next slide. Next slide, yeah. Right. So we finished with heart attack, stroke, diabetes. Now a word on cancer, so we nearly finished this section, right? This is not to frighten anybody, but you have to know your stuff. The man on the right-hand side here, you will see those circles showing you which are the commonest cancers in the world. For men, prostate is the commonest cancer. What they're showing you here, about 1/3 of everybody who have cancer, men have prostate cancer, the commonest cancer. For women, on the left-hand side, breast cancer is the most common cancer for women. So for men in Trinidad and around the world, prostate cancer, second colon cancer, then lung cancer, and then others not so frequent. In ladies, it's breast first, colon, bowel, and then lung and gynae cancers. Now, the question is, what do you do? Next slide. Right. We're summarizing the section, we nearly finish here. We're going back to the plaque story. What can we do about the plaque? Right? So you'll see what you can do. Stop smoking. Control your cholesterol. If it's more than 200, you need to get medication to bring it down. Control diabetes and high blood pressure. And this is where you need encouragement, knowledge to keep that sugar under control, pressure under control. As I say, sugar and pressure are quiet killers. Your pressure could be high and you wouldn't even know. When you check it, 200 over 110. And you don't know that. Don't wait for the back of your head to hurt you. The pressure could be high and you wouldn't even know that. So people, because you don't know, you don't look after yourself, and you can't go to the doctor for everything, have a machine home, check your sugar home, check your pressure home. If it's high, you should be worried, not your doctor. You should be worried, right? Because it's your body going down the road. And of course, this last one here, regular exercise is very important. right? For men and women, and exercise don't mean walking and whistling and swinging your hand and having a good time in the park. You're walking brisk to keep your heart going fast for at least half an hour, 3 or 4 days a week, not now and then. And if you do that, we're going to reduce the chance of heart attack in this country. Next slide. Right. This is the take-home message now for cancers. We can't go into too much detail. We'll talk a bit about prostate in a little while. Men over 40, start checking your prostate. Blood test, finger test. As long as both normal, you're good to go. If anything abnormal, doctor says, hold on. This blood test too high, PSA blood test, right? PSA is a blood test only for prostate cancer. If it's high, we have to do a biopsy. Biopsy means you sample to see if it's cancer. If it's cancer, at that stage, it can be cured. If you pick it up too late, it cannot be cured. Women, go to your gynecologist. Cervix cancer, uterine cancer happens after 40, 50. Do your pap smear. A word on mammograms. I know some gynecologists do it, but the proper thing is a surgeon. Why? Because breast cancer is a surgical disease. The surgeons know how to examine, they know what they're feeling for, they know what the mammogram show, and they know what looking abnormal to find a cancer. And if a cancer is formed early, it could always be helped and treated better. Now, colonoscopy. Everybody 50 years and over should have a camera examination of the bowel. Because I'm sure most of, how many you know people who died of colon cancer? So it's not as uncommon as a long time. Eh? Right now, I know at least 5 doctors who have colon cancer. When you ask them, say, boy, I know I'm supposed to get checked, but like human beings, I'll see next year. So doctors who know better, they have colon cancer because they didn't get checked out in time. So anybody over 50 here? Anybody over 50? Right. The thing is, go get checked out, because if they find a polyp that's going to turn to cancer, they remove it, and that is that. If you wait for that to start bleeding and causing problems, it means the cancer is already established already. Okay? Right. So that is, pardon, how much time we have again? Past enough time. Okay. Right. Let's take 3 questions, and then we'll take 2 minutes on prostate and finish. We have these slips anywhere? Anybody have any questions?
Yes, so the Dr. Mitra and Amral have the questions. They can bring them up.
Right. While we're doing this, for the men who are interested and the women who are interested in the, in the male relatives, prostate cancer can be prevented or treated very early. We'll attempt to answer a few of these questions quickly so that you all get some degree of, yeah. Right. Right. Can a biopsy for breast cancer cause breast cancer to spread? The answer is no. People feel when you touch a cancer, it gets wild and spread everywhere. How you know if it's cancer? You have a lump on the prostate, you don't know if it's cancer. The needles are so fine that when it goes in and comes out, it doesn't contaminate the tract. And the point is, if you know it's cancer, you could do something quickly and remove the whole cancer. So a biopsy of breast or prostate or most organs give you the answer without spreading. Now, here's the problem. Why people think it's spread is this. If the cancer is advanced, it's spread already. But you don't know it's cancer. You're getting weak, you're losing weight. Blood test high, we suspect it's cancer. We have to biopsy because we don't know. When you biopsy and get back the answer and say cancer, the person dies in 6 months. They say, you see, the biopsy makes things spread. It can't make it spread, it already advanced. So that's that, right? Okay, so I think this one, I'll leave this for dietitian, because Mitra, what you guys could do after this, as Pandit saying, you could get some dietitian to talk about food and diet and so on. They're asking, comparing the different types of rice, basmati, jasmine, and so on, which one is better for diabetic diet? That is outside the mic. It is worthwhile to get some dietitian to advise. You know how we like rice and roti, right? So, right. plaque, diet, and is there a relationship? There is certainly a relationship, right? If your cholesterol is borderline or high, eating too much fatty food will make it worse. Now, you could be a vegetarian like most of you, and you could still have high cholesterol because the liver makes cholesterol. Cholesterol is a good thing because we need cholesterol to live. But some people's body make too much cholesterol and it become a problem. Now, if you have highish cholesterol and you eat plenty fat, you're making things worse. On the other hand, if you eat too much starch, too much carbohydrate, rice, flour, roti, and so on, that too could make plaque and make carbohydrate storage problems worse and so on. So diet, Mitra will tell you there's a balance between how much carbohydrate, fat, protein you're supposed to eat to balance everything. If you eat 90% starch and 10% protein, it's unbalanced, right? So they have a ratio, and again, a dietitian might be able to help you with that. I check my blood pressure every morning. The first result is right, 140/73. That's good. A little bit highish, but okay. We don't know how old the person is. Right. So the thing is, if you go a certain place, some people, when they go to the doctor or the health or police station, your blood pressure go up. It's always better to check your pressure at home, lying down, standing, especially if you know that you're prone to high blood pressure. All right, so 2 minutes for the prostate and we finish. Next slide, please. The next presentation. Right. I could talk this one through, right? There are two main kind of diseases in prostate. Normal age-related swelling. As you get older, the prostate grows. As it grows, it causes little pressure on the water pipe. But the other disease is prostate cancer. The trouble is, both of them have the same symptoms. Next slide. Same symptoms. So you can't say, well, boy, I had trouble peeing, I don't know. No, you cannot know which is cancer or not. You have the same symptoms. So the symptoms are difficulty passing urine. You get up to pass urine, it kind of slow, stopping and flowing, right? You have to wake up 3-4 times, 2-3 times in the night. Most people in their young age do get up, but after 40, 45, you get up 1 time to go bathroom, 2 times, 3 times. Something happening. Something is affecting the flow of the urine. In men, it must be related to prostate. When you get to a worse stage, you come to a point where you have stoppage of water and you can't pass no urine. So that's severe prostate problem. Next slide. Right, next slide. So what do we do if you have these symptoms? We just show you most men don't know where the prostate is, right? You see in the bladder there? That on top is the bladder. The bone in front here is your pubic bone. The prostate is right behind that. So it's below the bladder, behind the pubic bone, and in front of the rectum. Okay, next slide. Right. So once you pass 40, 45, 40, what you should do? We recommend 40 and over, which is when prostate cancer starts, maybe 38, 40, but worldwide we say 40. Go to your doctor, a specialist, once a year to get your prostate screening. At 40, we don't really expect you to have symptoms. You can be normal, but you still need to be checked. So you go to the doctor, he will do a blood test. If you're having symptoms, do an ultrasound. If anything abnormal, you say, boy, I don't like this, something going on here. Let's find out what's happening. If the PSA test is high, say, listen, a cancer might be developing. We don't know. What we need to do, we need further tests. Next slide. The further test now, the doctor take all your history and everything, find out what's going on, and say, okay, we just want to make sure. Next slide. Make sure it's not a cancer. Next slide. That's how you feel the prostate from the back passage. The finger is only 2-3 millimeters away. This is why we feel it. That yellow place in the middle is the prostate, so you could actually feel it. Next slide. Right. So once something is abnormal, and especially prostate cancer, if it's two cancers curable, it's cervical cancer and prostate cancer. And the reason for it, you can pick it up at an early stage. If this shows prostate cancer early, it could be cured. If cervical cancer pick up on a pap smear, it could be cured. But if you don't go to the doctor for 20 years and you reach, it might be late. The lesson here is go early, get checked out, and a cancer could be cured if picked up early. Next slide. Right, that's just the prostate. Next slide. Next slide. Right, so we're talking about treatment of prostate cancer. All cancer is not the same. You have early cancer, intermediate cancer, and advanced cancer. If it's early, the treatment is curative. It could be cured. Radiation or surgery, cancer cured, you're good for the next 40 years. If it's caught not so early, but where it now is spreading, and we could prove that on the scan, there's plenty of treatment, especially for prostate, for it to last another 10, 15 years. So with prostate cancer, the survival is very good. The tragedy is when it's caught very late. Now, we mentioned the word PSA. Everybody heard about PSA before? Let me see how many of you know what PSA is. Right, most of the men know, right? Good. A man walk in the office, he is happy, he good. Man is 70 years and strong. He said, boy, I never do this thing called PSA. When I do it, you know what the PSA is? A normal PSA is 0 to 4. If you go to 5 or 6 or 10 that high, his PSA is 533. When he reached that high, it means cancer spread through the whole body already, and he don't even know. And that is the tragedy. So we try to avoid that by saying, guys, start getting checked out when you're 40, so if something happens, it could be cured. Right, guys, I think I finished. I take too much of your time, but any 2 quick questions on prostate? If not,
So we want to extend our thanks and gratitude to Dr. Rampal. Please extend thanks and gratitude. And Doctor, before you leave, we have a very, very small token of appreciation which we will be presenting by one of our youngsters, Varad Maharaj. And Varad is awaiting his SCA results, which will be out on Friday. So it's wonderful. We're presenting.
Wish you all the best and pass for Naprima College, right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And in his entire presentation, that was the only mistake about passing for Naprima College. So we want to thank Dr. Rampal. I'm sure some of you may want to have a very quick word with him after. And this really was meant as an ability to increase awareness about knowing of different things that affect both men and women. And this was really just a taster because there's so much more that could have been spent on each and every one of them. And the ability for us to be aware, be sensitive, be mindful, and to be preventative rather than reactionary when it comes to our health issues. I think that's a very important takeaway, that we should be preventative in terms of our diet, our checkups, and so on, rather than reactive to when something comes forward. So we want to invite you now to come forward and to perform your arati. Families and individuals, come straight forward before the murtis and you perform your arati.
Om Gam Ganapati Namo Namaha Shri Siddhi Vinayak Namo Namaha Ashtavinayak Namo Namaha Ganapati Baba Moria Om Gam Ganapati Namo Namaha Shri Siddhi Vinayak Namo Namaha Ashtavinayak Namo Namaha Ganapati Baba Moria Om Gam Ganapati Namo ॐ गं गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरिया ॐ गं गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरिया ॐ गं गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरिया ॐ गं गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरिया ॐ गं गणपतये नमो नमः श्री सिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरिया गणपति बाबा मोरिया गणपति बाबा मोरिया
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
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 जमुना के तीर हो 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 जमुना के तीर
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
मुरली की धुन मेरो मन हर लीनो
मुरली की धुन मेरो मन हर लीनो
चित धरत नहीं धीर
चित धरत नहीं धीर
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
कारो कन्हैया काड़ी कमरिया
कारो कन्हैया कारी कमरिया
कारो कन्हैया काड़ी कमरिया
कारो कन्हैया कारी कमरिया
कारो जमुना
बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
जमुना के तीर हो 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 जमुना के तीर मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर
मुरलिया बाजे रे जमुना के तीर राम कृष्ण हरे मुकुंद मुरारी
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 पांडुरंगा पांडुरंगा राम कृष्ण हरे
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 राम कृष्ण हरे मुकुंद मुरारी
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 पांडुरंगा पांडुरंगा राम कृष्ण हरे
पांडुरंगा पांडुरंगा राम कृष्ण हरे
जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंगा राम कृष्ण हरे
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 राधे श्याम राधे श्याम
राधे श्याम राधे श्याम
राधा माधव राधे श्याम
राधा माधव राधे श्याम
सीताराम सीताराम
सीताराम सीताराम
सीता वल्लभ सीताराम
सीता वल्लभ सीताराम
राधा मुकुंद राधे श्याम
राधा मुकुंद राधे श्याम
राधा गोविंद राधे श्याम
राधा गोविंद राधे श्याम
राधा राधा
Prem se bole Bindraban Bihari Lal ki jai. So devotees, before we move into our arti and closing prayer, just a few announcements. Once more, we extend a very special welcome to each and every one of you this morning. Those of you who have joined us physically, those of you who are viewing us online on YouTube or Facebook, although for locals in Trinidad and Tobago, we would prefer if you defer the Facebook and YouTube and be with us physically. So we urge you to do so if you are able to every Sunday morning. Remember, our service takes place from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. This morning, in addition to expressing our thanks and gratitude to Dr. Rampol, and I think he has unfortunately had to leave us at this point, but please give him a round of applause in his absence. And this is a continuation, as we said, of our continued drive towards awareness of our health and our wellness. Those of you who may have been apprised of certain comments made recently by the government, approximately 15 to 22% of our national budget is spent on health care. And if we can do something to reduce that, and remember, health care and the public service is free, so taxpayers' dollars, your dollars, are being spent more and more on providing health care. And while that is necessary, there are preventative steps that all of us should take the responsibility of doing for our own health, to make sure we look at what we eat, definitely no smoking or alcohol, make sure we exercise and get regular checkups so we can mitigate those issues and those diseases as far as possible. So we will continue monthly with these upcoming messages and talks, and next month we will have another one, and you will be apprised of the topic and presenter in due course. A reminder as well, and before I go to reminders, I want to extend special welcome to some guests this morning, persons who have joined us at the Mandir, and we look forward to seeing them with us more frequently, as far as, and Kriyam is smiling because yes, Kriyam and Joanna, I'm speaking about that young couple who are with us. So welcome to our Sunday morning service. Thank you for being here. And Prem Samudi Palm and their family, we look forward to seeing you all with us as frequently as time and circumstance will allow. Regular announcements. We have regular activities continuing at the Mandir, and just be mindful and please, if you can, participate or joining yoga classes, for example, tomorrow from 5:30 p.m. Those of you who are interested in improving your wellness and lifestyle and so on, please join us 5:30 tomorrow evening right upstairs of the annex for yoga class. That goes from 5:30 to 7 p.m. under our esteemed guidance of Mukesh Ji, who is our yoga instructor. On Tuesdays, Ran and Susan Muhip, dance and music classes. On Saturdays, Prashant with BVS classes. So there are so many other activities that are ongoing in the Mandir, and we would ask you to avail yourselves and your families of those activities. Those of you who will want to sit for Puja or Hawan on a Sunday morning, you can see Mrs. Rama Sharma Umrao, and you can give her your names to her, and she can make the arrangements for you to sit on a Sunday morning. I will conclude with our most important announcement in my humble view, and that is our upcoming fundraiser, which takes place on the 7th of July. I cannot overstate how important it is for us to raise funds, and we haven't done so in a little while. And this really requires your concerted effort and your contribution, and we thank you in advance for that, because we rely exclusively on your donations to keep the Mandir running, to pay the bills and overheads that we do have, and to engage in the various charitable initiatives that we do engage in regularly, quietly, but hopefully very effectively. So we want you to, as far as possible, participate by either contributing directly, or if you would like to take a sheet and solicit donations from persons that you know who would be willing to contribute towards this institution, we would really appreciate it. But more than that, we look forward to seeing you all with us on the 7th as well, as we engage in that wonderful exercise. It's from 8:30. Our guests will be arriving from 9 o'clock. So the Mandir's group will be starting us off, and then from 9 we will have various artists and groups coming in, and we invite you to be with us and join in that wonderful experience, that wonderful uplifting experience. Refreshments will be provided on the day, so you could come and spend a very meaningful morning with us, and that is on the 7th of July. There are many more upcoming events, but I will share those with you in weeks to come about the various activities and undertakings and ventures of the Mandir and of the Sri Savak Sabha. At this point, let us all now stand as we engage in a final arti and closing prayer.
Om Jai Jagadish Hari, Swami Jai Jagadish Hari, Bhakt Jano ke sankat दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। जो ध्यावे फल पावे दुख बिन से मन का। स्वामी दुख बिन से मन का। सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे कष्ट मिटे तन का। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण गहूँ किसकी। स्वामी शरण गहूँ किसकी। तुम बिन और न दूजा तुम बिन और न दूजा आश करो जिसकी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम पूरन परमात्मा तुम अंतर्यामी। स्वामी तुम अंतर्यामी। पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर तुम सबके स्वामी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम करुणा के सागर तुम पालन करता। स्वामी तुम पालन करता। हम सेवक तुम स्वामी हम सेवक तुम स्वामी कृपा करो भरता। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। तुम हो एक अगोचर सबके प्राणपति। स्वामी सबके प्राणपति। किस विधि मिलो दया में किस विधि मिलो दया में। तुम हो मैं तुम थी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। दीन बंधु दुख
as we conclude our puja and our satsang this morning. We give thanks to you, God, for all of the mercies and all of the blessings that you've bestowed upon us. We ask for your continued guidance, your continued protection, and your continued inspiration. This morning we offer prayer as well for those students who will be receiving their results from the SEA examinations, for them to be pleased with their results and to know that the results that are coming are not any mark of their true capability or potential, but it is indeed just a step in a long journey ahead. We ask you to bless the parents as well, that they too will encourage and guide and uplift their children, notwithstanding whatever those results may be. We ask you to bless those persons who may be ill, those persons who may be in the hospital, those persons who may have lost a loved one. May you provide that strength and that courage and that solace. Those persons who are engaged in acts of criminality or in deviant behavior, O Prabhu, we ask you to redirect their mind and their actions so that once more they can cause good and not harm. For you are mother, you are father, you are family, you are friend, you are knowledge, you are wealth, you are everything to us. We surrender ourselves together. Om Tvameva Mata Shapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Chaseka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Sato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Itam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय, श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय, प्रेम से बोले श्री सच्चे सनातन धर्म की जय. To those around you, sab koi jai jai Sitaram. Have a very powerful, very productive week ahead. Those of you who are celebrating birthdays or anniversaries, may Bhagwan bless you abundantly. As we conclude, just a note, I did indicate that the judgment in the matter involving the HTC should have been delivered on Friday. That was on Friday gone. However, the Honorable Judge indicated that the judgment was not yet ready, and the new date for the delivery of the judgment is now the 4th of July. So I will let you know of the outcome. That's the American independence. As Pandit Raj will tell you, it will also be our independence from that decision. Jai Sitaram, everyone.